Hey guys, how you guys doing? My name is Mbongendlu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here, well, thank you so much for joining me again yet to another video. So if you're watching this video, today is Father's Day, and I wanted to dedicate this entire video to fathers, and just to unpack what I think makes a good dad, a great father. You know, I grew up without a father. I never had a relationship with my father up until later in my life when I saw him. So yeah, I never had I still don't. I wouldn't say I've got a relationship with him. I don't have a relationship with him. So yeah, I didn't realize how much that impacted me badly, how much that did hurt me, fact that I didn't have a father in my life, up until now that I'm doing so much self-discovery, because I am healing myself, guys, from so much traumas that I've been through growing up. And yeah, because I do think that not having a present dad in my life really affected me in my life up until later in my 20s. I suffered a lot from low self-esteem. I don't think that most decisions that I did them because I love myself. I think that I didn't love myself, and I think that most of those decisions that I did came from a place of lack. I feel like when there's a void, I feel like if one parent is not present in a child's life, and mostly we know that it's mostly dads. I do know that there's mothers who also decide to go AWOL from their kids, but it's mostly dads, né? Because most of the time dads they decide, a man decides if he wants to be a father or if he doesn't. Whereas for a mother, the minute you are told that you are pregnant, you are a mother then. You can't decide. And most of the time our kids, they grow up like babakula behlala nathi, you know, especially for us ladies who've got kids and are not married. So yeah, but anyways, before I want to dive into the points of what I think makes a great dad, I just want to tell you, just to give you a little background. So I grew up with without my father, and growing up I suffered a lot, man, guys. I think I don't know, I feel like life has been unfair to me, and I feel like if I had a father, most things wouldn't have happened. I suffered from molestation, sexual molestation, because I was only raised by my mother. And I think that if there was also a man who was also helping her in doing that, she wouldn't have missed those things about me, you know. But without taking the credit away from my mother was an amazing mother. By the way, she's late if you don't know that. She passed away, but she was an amazing father. She really took care of us, and she really did a great job in raising us up until I was 15. My little brother was 8 and my big brother was 20. That was 2006 when she passed away. But I feel like she missed those little spots because I was first sexually molested when I was 5 years. Again, when my mother was married, right? And again, when I was by her, like, I don't know what that is. Again, I was sleeping, this guy came onto me, and yeah, I can't really go into details because my daughter is here. And also still the same place where my mother was married, when I was 13 years, a much older guy than me at the time was approaching me and everything, and that is when I lost my virginity at 13. And also another incident happened when I was in Breibach, when I was at a hostel. I also suffered from abuse from a teacher. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like all of those things, my mother couldn't see those things that were happening to me. I never opened up to her as well, because I feel like when you are one parent raising a child, sometimes it's not possible to see everything that is happening. Hence, umntana is meant to be raised by two people, right? That is why I think God made uThixo when he was creating a child, he did not give umntwana only to he did not, okay guys, in order for a child to be formed, right, without taking it in a biblical way, but in order for a child to be formed, a sperm and an egg, they meet and then they form a child, right? So I think that is why uThixo wayenza balento ibe ngutata nomama, so that bazokwazi ubambisana, so that they can help each other in raising this child, right? And so I feel like izinto ezininzi, like most single mothers, they miss most things in raising kids when they're doing that alone, right? But I'm also raising my child, my firstborn, alone. I think that I'm doing a good job, but I do know that because I'm doing it alone, chances are maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll miss something. But even though I'm trying my best to make sure that I don't miss anything, I want to raise my kids very well. I am expecting that maybe I'll miss something, but I always tell my child to be always open with me, because I'm raising her alone, right? With the little one, I'm not with the father, but then we just had a breakup, but then he's still present in his child's life, and I like that. And I pray that whatever that is happening, our separation does not affect the well-being of Mtana, because what I think what is most important here is the well-being of the child, right? So yeah, so that is just something that I just want to highlight, because I think that most of those things that happened to me, if my father was present, maybe they wouldn't have happened. And I think that most people, they take advantage of kids, of vulnerable kids, because I feel like if a child is growing up without a father, there's a wound somewhere there, right? There's an absent parent leaves the child scarred, right? They leave a child scarred because umntana deserve both love. Now, if the child is only getting love from one side and not from the other side, I think that is where the problem also comes, right? So yeah, so I did those things, and besides me being abused, I ended up making a horrible decisions because I feel like I didn't love myself, man, guys. I think also low self-esteem that I had, the low self-esteem I had was coming from a place of lack, right? From all of these things that have happened to me, and also a place of lack because I was lacking this love. I had the love of my mother, but I didn't have the love of my father. And at the time I didn't have a relationship with God, because I feel like once you know God, once you introduce God to your kid's life, then that void can be closed, right? It can be closed because uThixo becomes what he becomes lenting a coin. So if you guys, if I'm raising my child right now alone, which is my firstborn, God comes in her life, and then he closes that void that is a void of her not having a father, right? So that is why I think that is very important to introduce our kids to God, so that God can reach those places, all right? Because I feel like, because even now, late in my 20s, when I started gaining my self-esteem, I already knew who was God, and I already knew the relationship with him, right? Even though I was still not perfect, even though I was still maybe out there or whatever, doing whatever as a person who's not saved, but then I still knew who God was, and I knew I knew God's love, right? So eventually, late in my 20s, I regained my self-confidence, and I can say right now that I know who I am, and I can say that right now that I love myself. Every day I make it a point that I fall in love with myself, right? And every day I make it a point that I forgive the old me, right? I forgive the old me, the decisions that I made, whatever that has happened to me in my past. What I'm still struggling and doing is to forgive the people that did things to me, right? I'm still struggling to forgive, but I'm working towards that, because me not forgiving people has led me into being this bitter, angry person. You know, guys, when I'm angry, I can be very angry, and I feel like it's not healthy, right? Because of knocking to guys who harpers a lot. Like, I harper a lot, I keep a lot. Like, if into I keep it, you know, I don't release it, you know. So so just imagine that all of those years, from when I was 5 years, from the first encounter of abuse till very late in my age, I kept all of that anger, all of that anger. So yeah. And then when I was 22, I fell pregnant with my daughter. I was so happy. But then the unfortunate thing happened as well, when her father decided not to be part of her life. But well, I can say that in the first few months of her life, the father was there, right? And because at home where I come from, they never wanted, they didn't want me to continue with school. Rather, they wanted me to stay at home and raise my daughter, right? And I didn't want to do that, so I had to come to PE with a newborn, and I did that. And I think that God was very faithful, because even for her father to be there during that time, I think that was God, because he already went Ekaya and he saw that mnandi nayo mama. So he was already working. I was still a student, in 22, I think you can imagine, 22 is very young. So even though we were still having sexual intercourses, but then he managed to be there for the child in those few months, right? Up until I took the child. His mother, I think he told his mother that he's got a child, and then his mother phoned me and asking of the child. And my baby grew up in Joburg. I took her in Joburg when I was when she was 8 months, turning 9 months, and I only took her back when she was turning 5. That is when I started having a stable job. So I was in power now to take her and stay with me. Otherwise, she lived in Joburg from then up until, right? And ever since the child was in Joburg, the father never did a thing. I know that for a fact, because me and his mother had a close relationship together. And when I took my baby in Joburg, he still wasn't bothered. He still doesn't have a relationship even today with my daughter. It is very painful, because I see myself so much in my daughter. I see the young me so much in my daughter, because what she's going through is exactly the same thing that I went through, right? And I think as she's growing, she's becoming more aware. But I think that my daughter is very, I think unfuzile, guys. I think she's more like me, because she's more like me because I think she harbors a lot. She harbors or hides how she feels, or she suppresses how she feels. You will never see her sad or whatever about the situation, about the absence of her father. But I do know that in the long run, she will feel that void, right? Even if it's not now, she's not feeling it, but she will feel it. And I think that it's okay that she feels it. I don't know the reasons exactly why her father decided not to be in her life. But then sometimes those things, they happen for good, right? And yet again, I say that God becomes the father to the fatherless, and God will be a father to my daughter as well. So yeah, so yeah, guys. I think I did take you back to that, and when I was, I think, okay, guys, when I was, okay, before I moved here into this new apartment, I met my baby daddy number 2. I've got 2 baby daddies, right? I'm sure by now you know that I've got 2 baby daddies. I started staying with my baby daddy, or he moved in with us 2018. We stayed together 2019. That was 2019, if I'm correct. Yeah, we stayed together 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and then this year we stopped staying together. Now it's 2023, so we stayed together for over 4 years, if I'm counting correctly. You guys can do the maths and you can correct me there. So we stayed together for over 4 years, and we in that 4 years we also had our child. He is a present dad to his child. Even though that things are not good between us, even though we had our separation, but he still continues to being a good dad to his child, which is very nice to see, and it's very nice to see. But I realized that as I'm doing this self-healing, as I'm healing, right, I'm not saying that he didn't have faults as well. We both had faults, and I think those faults contributed a lot in our breakup. But then I'm in a journey to heal myself. I noticed that, okay, now that I'm staying here and we're not staying together anymore, and I'm doing a lot of self-reflection, I know that okay, he has another child, a boy. I noticed that when he would get calls from his son and I would hear the mother talking that side, I would get so angry, guys. I think that also happened because when you don't have a relationship with a father, you've never had a relationship with a father, and you also had a child who never had a relationship with who also has a father that is absent. So this thing, I experienced it, and I also had a child that is also going through the same thing, because the man that made me pregnant, which is my daughter's father, decided to be absent. So when you're going through those things and everything, you are bound to become this bitter person, especially if you have not started a journey to your healing. So I noticed that I was so toxic, guys. I was so toxic because I would get so angry, because in my mind, I thought that the only time a man is present in their child's life is when they still want to do something with their mother. Maybe, I don't know, maybe whatever, but still, even if there was something between them, still I still didn't have a right for me to feel some type of way if ever my ex receives a call from his baby mama about the child, right? But then I had those angers, but I think that was coming from a place of me not knowing a relationship with not having a relationship with my father, and also the same thing continuing in my child's life. Without making this video long, because I don't want it to be too long, guys. So yeah, I think you guys can just have an idea of how much I've been hurting from not having a present father, how much it has hurt me. It did hurt me. One day I'll unpack it. I'll unpack it in more detail, but it did hurt me a lot. I stayed in relationships that I know that I shouldn't have stayed in. I loved people that I know I shouldn't have loved. And that happens when I've been a people pleaser. I pleased people a lot. You know, that happens a lot when you are someone who's lacking something, who's lacking that love. It's either you become very angry towards the world. In my case, when I became people pleaser, I stayed in relationships that I was not supposed to have stayed, you know, and in the process, I was getting hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt, right? So yeah. So anyways, guys, without that, this video is about fathers. It's dedicated to all the amazing fathers that are doing their job. It's dedicated to amazing fathers that are there for their kids, right? So the point number one, what are the okay? So I asked on my social on Facebook, what is it that makes a great dad, right? And I also did my own research on the other side. So there's 7 things that I came with that I think that makes a good father. Number 1 being, a father is a provider. A father or a dad, guys, either way, which one, if you're a man, you're watching this video, a father is someone who provides for their child. You know, you provide for your child. You make sure that your child eats. You make sure that your child you make sure that your child you make sure that your child goes to school. That is not only a role of a father. Of course, if you are not married, if you are not married and you are single like me, and maybe raising a child or raising children, or in my case, now I'm raising one child, my firstborn alone, and the other one, me and the father are doing it together. We are raising the child together, so we split the responsibilities. So a father provides. A father is someone who will not buy a bottle of Hennessy engayazi umntana wakhe ulalele endlini. So a father is someone who provides, who makes sure that the child is well taken care of. Yeah. A father is a protector, guys. A father, I feel like a father is a protector. A father is someone who will protect their kids. I can just imagine that if I had a father in my life, he would have protected me for all of these things that have happened to me. Because maybe if my mother was too busy, he would have seen that this is happening to our child. He might have seen something, he must have spotted something, but because he was not there, I didn't have a protection of my father. So a father is someone who protects their kids, who wants to make sure that their kids are protected, the environment they're growing in is safe, is safe for their kids to grow up in, you know. A father is a leader. A father leads. Guys, he becomes an example. He becomes an example. He leads by an example. So I don't know, but the father is a leader, man. He leads. I don't know if you guys do understand this thing. I'm so excited as I'm sharing this information with you guys. So a father is also a leader. So abantwana, they will hold themselves as they see how their father holds himself, right? So yeah, a father is also a teacher. He teaches their kids. I can just imagine that if my father was in my life, he would have taught me on what to look out to when I start dating, or he would have taught me on how to be careful of certain people along the way. But because he was not there, I miss that, right? A father is a helper. A father helps his kids, guys, in any way possible. A father is a helper. A father is an encourager. I can just imagine that when I was growing up, remember that I said that I had low self-esteem. I think that if I had a father, maybe, even though my mother was also doing the part, but you can just imagine when your father, when it's coming from a man and your man tells you that Danam, you are smart. Danam, you can do it. I feel like that was gonna hit differently. guys, and remember that I didn't have a relationship with God. I didn't know God's love by then. So to hear him saying that to me, I feel like that would have hit differently. To hear my father telling me, even because my mother, even though she told me that I was beautiful, I still didn't believe it, somehow, some way. So when I hear a boy saying that to Umhle, that made me feel so good. To a certain extent, that though the other bad reasons that I did was because of that, right? Because I was getting this compliment now from a man or from a boy that is telling me that and then it would hit differently because my father was never there to tell me that. A father is also a friend. I think that growing up, I also had a lot of I had friends, right? I think my low self-esteem wanted me to be friends with people that were popular at school, right? And I remember this other time once, at Breibach, I had these friends of mine, we're still friends. I'm okay with them, but I think that also happened because we were growing up, right? We were young and everything, but there was this other guy who just got his inheritance, right? Because I don't know whether I'm okay, and I think that I'm beautiful. They told me, they introduced me to this guy. I don't know whether they first discussed that together or what, but they introduced me to this guy. But by that, they introduced me to this guy, and by that, this guy was able to buy all of us food such as KFCs and alcohol, but in the process, this guy was seeing me. So I think that after I was being used by friends in order for them to get access to this guy's money, right? So those are the things that happened to me, because if I had a first encounter of what is a friend is like from my father, maybe I would have been very good at spotting what a friend should do, what a friend shouldn't do. Maybe they are not bad friends for me. They were not bad friends for me. We were all young. But in that case, I would have stood up for myself and said that this is not how it's supposed to be, guys. Right? Because when I think about it, as I'm reflecting back to my past, the guy was not even my type, guys. Except that he had a lot of money. So when you don't have a father, you lack all of these things, because a father who's supposed to be grooming the child, who's supposed to be there, molding the child into being this masterpiece that the child is supposed to be, the father is absent. And in the process, when the mother is doing that alone, we end up missing those few things that a father would have been able to see if ever he was present. So yeah, guys, we have come to the end of these 7 points of what makes a great father, right? And I also want to encourage fathers out there, if you are watching me out there, to say that please reach, if you're not yet, you don't have a relationship with your child, I don't think that it's ever late. Please reach out to your child. They need you. If a child does not only need a mother's love only, they also need their father's love. So if you're out there and you know that you have not done right by your child, please reach out there. And if a mother is keeping you away from the child, you have a right as a father. But in order for you to have those rights as a father, you need to also take responsibility, because having a child comes with responsibilities. So if you don't take responsibility, unfortunately, you forfeit those rights. You lose those rights. You can't say that, I've got rights to my child, but you know that you don't even know or you don't even know if school fees was. Unfortunately, you don't have rights if you are that type of father. But if you're a father that wants to do those things, but then you've just been unfortunate to have a baby mama that is using your child, your guy's child, to fight her battles with you because maybe you decide to end the relation or whatever, then you have a right to fight for your child in that case, right? Your kids' fathers, they need you. Your kids, they need you. The void that you guys leave when you're absent. Right now, we're gonna be mothers that are taking our kids to Ilandoka to counseling and stuff because you guys decided. Oh, sorry guys, the video cut. Because you guys decided to be. I was saying that because you guys decided to be AWOLs. Now we're gonna have to take our kids for counseling because the damage that you leave when you decide that you don't want to be a parent, it's very deep. It's very deep. And yeah, I just want to encourage the present fathers out there, continue doing that, continue being present to your kids' life. You guys are amazing. You guys are doing God's work for being present in your child's life, because abantwana benu bayandidinga. We can do better than our fathers did. And also please tell amanyama gents, guys out there, that they are missing out, even though financially and emotionally it's not easy to raise a child, but it's beautiful once you see them growing, but they becoming older. When I see my daughter, my firstborn, she's growing. In fact, when I see both my kids, because even the little one is growing as well, when I see them growing, I get so much joy, even though it's not easy. It's not easy, right? It's not easy financially, emotionally, and all of these other things. It's not easy, guys. But then to see them grow, I get so happy. Even if it means I don't buy myself clothes and I buy them clothes, to see them, it brings me so much joy. It gives me a purpose in this life. You see so many men drinking out there, they don't have direction. Because what direction do you think you're going to have as a father who decides to be absent in your child's life? What direction are you going to have? Because once you have a child, God gives you a responsibility, a reason, you know what, to work hard in this life. I still say that if I didn't have my kids, I don't think I would have still been here. Because things that I've been through, for me to be able to still be here, I think I would have long taken my life. Because it's not easy to live, guys. That's the honest truth. But because I've got my kids that make this life thing bearable, they make it bearable, they make it because I don't think that I think when God was giving me my kids, he was giving me a reason, a purpose to live, right? Without being mumfundis and preaching for a long time, but I just wanted to say that fathers are very important. And mummies, if ever you are watching this and you know that you are keeping your baby daddy away from your child because maybe he broke up with you, or maybe because he decided to leave you for another lady, mommy, you are not right by doing that. If you are fortunate enough to have a man that wants to be present in their child's life, allow them to be present. You are not doing this thing, is not about you anymore. Once there's a child, it stops being about you too. It becomes about the child, right? So yeah, guys, I had pleasure of making this video for you guys, and if I didn't do this self-healing, I don't think that I would have made this video, because now it slaps differently, guys. It slaps differently. It's nice, man, guys. The journey of self-healing is beautiful. I'm not perfect. I don't think I'll ever be perfect, but I think I'm better. And I am so happy for the work that I'm doing. It's not easy, but I am so happy. Anyways, guys, I'll see you again on another video next time. And if you know that you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Please do subscribe and be part of the family. And please, guys, if you have subscribed already, please do make sure that you like the video, because when you like the video, YouTube recommends it to other people, right? So that we can grow and become a big family, guys, right? So I'll see you guys next week. It will be a vlog. I don't do a lot of sit downs, but I wanted to do a sit down this week because it was Father's Day, and I'm dedicating this sit down to all the amazing fathers out there who decide to be present in their lives. All the uncles, because being a father is not only about having a child. Even if you're a present uncle or a dad, that whatever, stepdads that are present in their lives, guys, they're doing amazing jobs. So today's are very lucky. Stepdads that decide to show up for abantwana that are fatherless, we appreciate you guys. Present fathers, brothers, grandparents, grandfathers that decide to do, like, to help raise abantwana. You guys are doing an amazing job. And from mama onding, mama of 2 girls, I want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for being present in your child's life. And mommies, thank you so much for allowing that man, even after that nasty breakup, for allowing him to be part of his child's life. Anyways, thank you so much. I love you.